optimal solution that ends there, but I don't know where it started. I won't know where it started until I finish. So in some way you can, we're still working on this, but I think you can combine these two methods to find a good solution. So I think that's all I was going to talk about. And again, I hope that you can learn something from this technique. Maybe it gives you some idea for your own problems, and it's time for questions.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay. Okay, so we have time for a few questions. There are questions.
Yes.
It's interesting with the accounting of the military.
Yes.
I was wondering why. So this is obviously a very powerful approach, but why not just get better accounting software? You know, kind of like what's the idea of using your tool versus another tool?
Money. That certainly the accounting software is there, but you also have to realize that the Army has a huge budget and it fluctuates, and status quo is very difficult to change. So what seems obvious sometimes does not. Yeah, no, that's a good question. That's a good question.
With this final example, it looks like you're just following a greedy approach and like minimizing the cost function at each step.
Yeah, you could say that.
But that does not guarantee that you get the optimal minimal. Not necessarily. I don't know.
Well, if you of course, there's problems with discretization, but you are the point is that you are examining, in a way, you are examining all possibilities.
Yes.
You really are examining all possibilities. So I can say that to a certain level of fine gradedness, I am finding the very best one. I am finding the very best one. You can think about it. We can talk about it afterwards. But I am actually doing an exhaustive search. But the thing is that I'm eliminating parts of the state space that are not possible. But we can talk about it afterwards. I'm sure I'm missing something. Yes.
Like when you talked about the military,
Yes.
we saw that, for example, you can always go back to the account to verify, to make sure that at least
Yes.
if there are some errors, you can actually verify it.
Yes.
If you go back to the account, like what you said, look
Yes.
at that. But in terms of, for example, biological systems, where
Yes.
you can't really determine, how do you make assumptions to make sure, okay, this is actually a very good result, or maybe the accuracy is not optimal, or it is not?
Well, I can only speak, I think, in a theoretical way, that you could apply this model to a system. And then, I mean, you have systems and you have data. They have observed populations that have been inoculated and so on. And so that you can see the data. So I think that theoretically you can verify. Now, have I used practical data in this way? No, I have not. But I would think it would still be possible to verify.
For example, if you're looking at maybe what is going to be the probability of people that are not inoculated in places you've not been to, for example.
Yes, sure.
You can of course look at data of people
Yes.
that maybe the previous data, but what
Yeah.
about we are trying to predict in the
Yeah.
future?
Well, that's true. I mean,
Yeah.
I think it's an ongoing process.
Yeah.
You make the best prediction possible, then you gather data and find out if your model did work. If your model didn't work, you try to understand why. But it's certainly always an ongoing process. You can say you can't repair your ship while you're sailing it, but you have to do the best you can. Another question?
Okay. Any other question? So in terms of prediction,
Yes.
you said in your things there, I'm not sure if that was prediction, when you say 100%, that you are able to match.
Matching, I wouldn't say it
Not
wasn't
prediction.
Well, because we examined the data without knowing, and then we went back and saw that in fact it was the correct. It was the correct matching.
So can we use this approach also to predict?
I tried, and in this particular case, I mentioned that there was a third factor called credits, and it turns out that the credits are so unpredictable and so significant that it was difficult to make predictions. It did not perform well in making predictions. you can do some kind of error bars, but the error bars are very large.
Mm.
So it did not work well with prediction. Yes.
Just kind of based on his question, you're working from, so for example, with the DNA and nucleotides,
Yes.
you've got like a known starting base. You can guarantee starting with G or whatever. So
Yes.
that's how you guarantee that you're looking at all options, because you always know that these are the options you're starting with.
Okay.
So I'm just trying to kind of understand it properly.
Right,
So,
okay,
say, like,
sure.
so for example, if you're following that chain,
Yes.
you're always multiplying, but you've always kind of started at the same point and multiplying. You sure there's no other line that's come around that you haven't started from that could be lower?
Well, I think you need to, well, I mean, the information that you have is, you know the sequence of GACT.
Mm.
That's something that you know. What you don't know is kind of the underlying structure that indicates. But then, as I said, the concentration of GACT determines what type of information is being coded. That's what you don't know. But the GACT, you definitely know that. So I don't think you can't, I mean, if you look at that diagram, there's no other way for me to draw the diagram.
Yeah.
So I think it really does give me the only
No,
possibility.
that's what I was trying to
Yeah,
understand.
yeah.
Okay.
Yes, no, see, one more question.
Okay.
When you code, what are the main imports that you use in Python?
The import,
Yeah.
NumPy.
Just NumPy.
Just NumPy, yes. They have SciPy, things like that, but I just, if you know Python, I just import NumPy as star, and then I don't worry about it. Because my background is I use MATLAB. And if you know anything about Python and MATLAB, the Python people have copied MATLAB as much as possible. So if I just import NumPy as star and I use MATLAB, then it's the same thing. Yeah.
Okay, so I hope that you have learned something and that you can apply it to your own problems, engineering problem. He's not yet doing any engineering things. That's the reason he's here, so that we can give him some engineering job to also help us with that. Okay, so thank you very much, Chris, for your time. So let's give him